People, places, and events come and go, frequently without notice, in the dance of impermanence that is life. Because the familiar feels secure, we cling to it. But our biggest challenge is this attachment. What we don't realize is that life, with its boundless wisdom, frequently makes room for something bigger than ourselves at the time. It seems like a part of you has been ripped away when someone leaves your life. However, think about this. What if their absence isn't a punishment or an accident? What if the hand of divine intelligence is actually making room, clearing the clutter, and bringing you into alignment with a higher purpose? A person's absence is not always a loss. It might serve as a call to develop, think, and become a different version of yourself. It is a tree's trimming. It hurts, but it's essential to its growth. We frequently wonder why relationships end, why things break apart, or why we are left in the quiet of loneliness. Perhaps what life is attempting to teach me is more important than why this has happened to me. Life makes room for something new by clearing away the old. Clarity, silence, and significant change can all be discovered while others are not around. We will observe that life functions precisely if we pay attention. People enter our lives with the intention of challenging, educating, guiding, and even hurting us. However, they have to depart after their part in our voyage is finished. It is a necessity, not cruelty. It would be like holding water in your hand if you held onto them past their time. What should have flowed would stall. This is the great paradox. The only constant is change, despite our resistance to it. We impede the process of becoming when we hold on to things that must go. We are closest to the truth when everyone seems to go, and the silence becomes intolerable. The biggest changes take place in the emptiness. What looks like nothingness is actually a canvas, just waiting for the next chapter's brushstrokes. Have faith that a larger order, a pattern too big for our brains to comprehend, is at work. When something is lost, something else is born. Life is purposeful. It is not random. We find that the gaps left behind are portals rather than voids when we allow it to flow through us. Life whispers that you are prepared for more during these times of perceived loss. Give up trying to grasp every detail. Give up the agony of resistance. Have faith that life removes things to prepare you, not to hurt you. The trip is about what you become along the way, not about what you lose. One man led a life in which he had a close relationship with everyone around him. His relationships, family, and friends seemed to be the cornerstones of his life. He thought that these ties would get him through any storm, so he based his entire existence on them. However, those ties started to wane one by one. People he cared about moved on, things changed, and he was left standing in a void, wondering about everything he believed to be true about life. He struggled against the nothingness at first. In an attempt to preserve the strands of relationships that were slipping from his grasp, he sought out to those who had departed. But despite his best efforts, nothing was effective. He suffered more the more he resisted. He questioned why life would be so harsh as to deprive him of everything. The quiet that enveloped him was intolerable. Something unexpected started to happen in the silence of his seclusion. He began to hear a voice, an inner understanding that seemed to come from the silence, rather than a real voice. It suggested that the emptiness he experienced was intended to prepare him, rather than to hurt him. It informed him that everything that didn't fit with the person he was becoming was being removed from his path by life. He didn't believe it at first. How could he benefit from losing so much? However, he started to see things he had never seen before, as the days stretched into weeks, and the weeks into months. He could now clearly hear his own thoughts, feel his own aspirations, and dream without the cacophony of other people's demands and views, free from the impact of people who used to be around him. The vacuum started to resemble an open field of blank canvas where something fresh could be made, rather than a void. He understood that those who had departed had not been removed as punishment, but because they had served their purpose in his life. Their departure marked a beginning, rather than an end. They had served as stepping stones on his road, and now he needed to take a different one that just one person could take. In this place of isolation, possibilities started to arise. He had been so preoccupied with clinging to what was behind him that a new door appeared, one he had never seen before. The people who had departed didn't need to endorse or encourage the person he was becoming. He had to let life unfold as it was supposed to and trust the process. He got stronger every step he took ahead. He began to do things that he had previously believed were unattainable. The anguish of loss has given way to a deep feeling of purpose and clarity. He now looked back with appreciation rather than regret. Each individual, event, and farewell had molded him into the person he was destined to be. He realized the reality he had previously been unable to see as he stood in the fullness of his new life. Without giving back, life cannot exist. It removes to get ready, not to hurt. It makes room for growth rather than nothingness. And when it all seems to be falling apart, it's because something bigger is coming. Not because life had been simple, but because it had been right. The man grinned. He now understood that every ending was only the start of something lovely, and every loss was a step towards something greater. Even when we find it difficult to comprehend why, life has a way of eliminating the people and circumstances that no longer contribute to our development. This procedure is not random, even though it may seem harsh, unfair, or even cruel. Even when you don't, life, with its boundless wisdom, understands what you need to do to proceed. In certain cases, the ties we once relied on are the very things that are preventing us from moving forward. The places you thought were permanent, or the routines that felt safe, aren't always supposed to remain there. Life makes room when it takes something, or someone away. It involves getting rid of things that don't fit with who you are becoming, and creating space for new chances, experiences, and people. Consider it like trimming a tree. The removal of the branches is not done out of resentment. They are taken out to make room for new growth and to provide the tree with the strength it needs to thrive. In a similar vein, although the changes in your life may cause you sorrow at the time, they are frequently the first steps towards something bigger. In reality, what you see as loss is actually preparation. Life is bringing you closer to a purpose that can only be realized once the past is gone. A sense of emptiness, a gap that seems insurmountable, is frequently left behind when life takes people or circumstances out of your life. It's simple to interpret that quiet as a sign of failure, punishment, or loss. What if, however, that emptiness isn't intended to hurt you? What if it's a hallowed area designed to help you change? In actuality, this gap marks the start of a significant change within you, rather than its conclusion. You're being given the chance to think and rediscover yourself during the quiet times, when it feels like everything has come apart. For the first time in years, you can clearly hear your own voice, without the cacophony of surrounding influences. You can start to realize what your soul is urging you to do, and what you really want. This void turns into a cocoon, a place where you start to transform into someone completely different after shedding the layers of your previous identity. When everything is comfy, transformation does not occur. It occurs when you're compelled to face the quiet, endure the discomfort, and have faith that life is working on a much bigger scale than you can now perceive. The nothingness is a field of opportunity rather than a void. New seeds that will sprout into the next phase of your life can be sown in this soil The most significant changes take place in this emptiness, even though the process may seem slow and even painful at times. You're being strengthened, wiser, and more in line with your mission by life, rather than being broken down. One of the most difficult lessons we learn in life is to let go, but it's also one of the most important. Our natural reaction when life removes individuals or situations is frequently to cling more tightly, to fight the change, and to attempt to restore the status quo. In actuality, though, clinging to things that no longer belong in your life will only keep you there. Release is necessary for growth. By holding on to the past, you keep yourself from advancing and entering the future that lies ahead. Letting go is not about forgetting or giving up. Realizing that everyone and everything in your life has a purpose is key. And it's time to move on once that goal has been achieved. It's an acceptance of what is, rather than a rejection of what was. You give yourself the freedom to develop, change, and welcome new experiences when you let go of things that are no longer meant for you. You make room for new individuals to enter your life, for chances to present themselves, and for the next phase of your life to start. It takes trust to let go. It's having faith that life is in control, even when you're not. It involves having faith that the voids that remain are invitations to something bigger, rather than emptiness. And it's having faith that, despite the uncertainty, your path is developing precisely as it should. Letting go results in gain, rather than loss. You're becoming clearer, more free, and capable of being the person you were destined to be. Letting go is the first step toward your biggest change, not the end. It's simple to concentrate on the anguish of loss when circumstances or people are taken out of your life. It feels like the end of a chapter, as if something priceless has been lost. However, what if those losses aren't really endings? What if they mark the start of something much bigger than you could have ever dreamed? Life doesn't take things away from you to leave you empty. Rather, it takes things away to create space for growth and to get you ready for possibilities and blessings you can't yet see. Consider attempting to fill a cup that is already brimming. There's no room for the fresh water, no matter how nice it is. In life, the same holds true. To create room for what is supposed to arrive, you may need to let go of things that no longer serve you. The things you believe you can't live without, the people who leave, and the doors that close, all provide you the space you need to develop into the person you were meant to be. The purpose of the loss is to stretch you into a better version of yourself, not to make you less. The wisdom of life is vastly superior to our own. Even when you feel unprepared, it can tell when you're ready for something more significant. And it must first take away what doesn't fit in order to bring that into your existence. Although the process may seem to be breaking, it is actually building. Every loss serves as a clearing, a precondition for the germination of subsequent seedlings. Every departure serves as a reminder that something fresh and in line with your greater self and mission is approaching. Over time, you start to see the reality, which is the beauty of this process. It was never intended for what you believe to be stolen from you to remain. Loss creates space, which serves as the basis for future development, opportunities, and individuals. You don't go through life with nothing. It always points you in the direction of something bigger and more in line with your evolving self. Have faith in the process, because sometimes what seems to be the end is actually the start of your greatest growth. The timing of life's removals is never arbitrary, and neither is their kind. Even though you might not completely comprehend it at the time, every change and transition is a part of a bigger plan that is always in your best interests. Although it's simple to feel that things are moving too rapidly or not fast enough, life's timing has a wisdom that is beyond our comprehension. When the time is ripe for you to move on to something bigger, the people and circumstances that depart your life do so. You have to have faith in this time, but you have no control over it. Being aware that everything is coming together, just the way it should. You recognize that a plan is in motion, even when you are unable to perceive it, when you have faith in divine timing. When things are taken away from you, it's not a sign of abandonment. Rather, it's an invitation to trust that the next chapter is already underway. Life doesn't take away what you need, but rather what you've outgrown. The gaps that remain are precisely the ones that let in fresh experiences and fresh individuals at the ideal moment. Every moment of your journey, even the difficult ones, contributes to your development as it aligns with the divine order. Have faith that life is in control. You will always receive what is meant for you at the ideal moment. Life frequently takes you along a route you cannot yet see, one that feels unclear and foreign, as it takes people and situations out of your world. Life doesn't always operate that way, but it's normal to want to know what lies ahead and to have a map or clear guide pointing the way. The hidden road necessitates having faith and trust in the process. Even while you might not know where the next step will take you, it's just this ambiguity that allows you to develop. You become more receptive to possibilities that you could never have imagined, the more you accept the unknown. You're entering the best version of yourself every time you venture into the unknown. The discomfort you experience along the journey does not indicate that you are being stretched or that you have lost your proof. Perhaps something much bigger is being prepared for you. You allow the enchantment of discovery to enter your life when you let go of the demand for certainty. You won't follow a route in life that isn't meant for you. Accept the steps that don't seem clear, because you know that they will all lead you to the person you were destined to be. Over time, what is invisible will become apparent as precisely what you were destined to walk. Have faith that the route that is unfolding in front of you is exactly what you need to go. In the moment, the anguish of being separated from people, circumstances, or aspects of oneself can frequently be intolerable. It's simple to see separation as a loss, a life-altering event that leaves you feeling devastated. Separation, however, can actually be one of the most profound healing processes. You are given the opportunity to recover, think, and re-establish a connection with your inner self during these times of separation. Life purges you of things that are no longer meant for you, allowing you to rediscover who you really are, free from the burden of the past. When you are no longer bound by the things that kept you in place, healing via separation happens. Even though it can be challenging, letting go enables you to let go of old scars, antiquated ideas, and restrictive behaviors that prevented you from becoming the person you were meant to be. The ensuing seclusion is when you discover the fortitude to rebuild, take care of yourself, and start over. Every time you go through a separation, you have the chance to purge your emotions and create space for new, dynamic energy to enter your life. Although it might not be obvious at first, separation creates a clearing where new growth can establish itself. You establish the circumstances for profound healing when you give yourself permission to feel the pain completely and let it pass through you. When what once existed is gone, it creates room for new possibilities and individuals, and fresh opportunities to explore. Accept the mending that comes from being apart. Being aware that what has been eliminated is creating room for a stronger and more genuine version of yourself. Whether from people, places, or circumstances, the anguish of separation frequently resembles an unhealing wound. Humans naturally cling to what feels familiar, mourn what was lost, and find it difficult to let go. A relationship that no longer fulfills you, a career that no longer makes you happy, or even a version of yourself that no longer fits with who you are becoming, might all be the reason for the split. It's simple to see these times as the closure of a door that will never be opened again, the end of something valuable. In actuality, though, all separations, no matter how unpleasant, are a necessary component of a much more extensive healing process. Life is not punishing you when it takes people or circumstances out of your life. Frequently, it is the complete opposite. It's allowing you the room you require to recover, change, and become a different version of yourself. Realizing that what was taken away was no longer intended for you is the first step toward healing through separation. It may have had a function in the past, or it may have provided you with comfort or joy, but it is no longer relevant in your life. Even if separation is unpleasant, it's frequently a sign of divine intervention and a necessary step to make room for something new to enter your life. The difficulty comes in seeing this bigger view when we are experiencing excruciating suffering. A feeling of bewilderment, rage, or even bitterness is frequently the first reaction to loss. What caused this to occur? Why am I losing this person or circumstance in my life? Asking these questions is normal, but it ignores the more profound realization that life eliminates things that are no longer in line with your purpose. Recognizing that we occasionally hang on to things and people not because they serve us, but rather because of fear, habit, or insecurity, requires guts. We must face our own attachments, our own limitations, and our own development when we are compelled to let go. We become stronger, more resilient, and closer to who we really are as a result. The process of healing via separation takes time. Patience, self-compassion, and the ability to bear the full weight of what has been lost are necessary for this path. The discomfort that comes with change cannot be avoided, and there is no quick fix for healing. But healing occurs as a result of that discomfort. Every grieving moment, tear shed, every day spent longing for the past brings one step closer to wholeness. And you get closer to your true self with every step, peeling back the layers of who you were. You start to recover from the actual separation, as well as from all that preceded it. There is a chance to rediscover yourself in the absence of what was. It's simple to lose sight of your identity when relationships or circumstances fail. It's possible that your work, your relationship, or your possessions have defined who you are. You're left with nothing but yourself when those things are taken away. You discover something lovely, though, in that emptiness: your own tenacity, fortitude, and capacity for reconstruction. The understanding that you are entire, with or without anything outside of yourself, is the core of healing via separation. Self-reflection is another way to find healing. You're given the chance to consider what something or someone that once held a special place in your life actually meant when you are away from them. What did you learn from it? What insights did the link teach you? That being said, what have you outgrown? Being apart frequently makes us examine ourselves critically and acknowledge the ways in which we have changed and the ways in which we still need to improve. It gives us the room to let go of old habits, mend old wounds, and grow in awareness of what really benefits us. Because it enables us to comprehend why things went wrong and what we can learn from the experience, this reflective process is essential for personal development. Separation frequently teaches lessons about self-worth, boundaries, and having the guts to let go when the time is appropriate. It's an opportunity to evaluate your own part in the circumstance and acknowledge that leaving can occasionally be the most therapeutic course of action. We may make room for forgiveness, not just for others, but also for ourselves, by healing through separation. Letting go isn't about punishing people or harboring resentment. It is all about releasing the emotional burden that binds us to the past. Making space is one of the most profound parts of recovering through separation. It can feel empty at first when a personal situation leaves your life. You might not know what to do with the new space in your life and feel lost or lonely. The fact that this vacant area is a good place for fresh growth, however, is not necessarily apparent at the time. You can meet new people, take advantage of fresh opportunities, and have new experiences in this area. Before you can create room for the new, you must let go of the old. And often the most effective way to be receptive to what life has in store for you is to let go. Believing that what is meant for you will always arrive is another approach to heal through separation. There is a concern that we may lose something we can never get back when we let go of someone or something. However, what if what you are losing marks the start of something far bigger rather than its demise? Separation creates space for the new, for the next phase of your life that awaits you. Even though you can't see it right now, things that are more in line with your goals and identity will eventually replace the empty areas. When you let go of things that no longer serve you, life has a way of providing you with exactly what you need. Separation-based healing ultimately serves as a reminder that life is ever-changing. It is an adventure of development, transformation, and change. Every time you go through a period of separation or loss, you are being called to develop, mature, and become a different version of yourself. The process of removing the old and creating space for the new is challenging, yet lovely. Accept the mending that results from being apart, understanding that every loss marks the start of something far bigger rather than its conclusion. Every moment of loss, every person who passes away, and every shift that completely upends you is a step forward rather than a setback in the great scheme of things. What no longer serves you is taken away by life, not to harm you, but to get you ready for the bigger things that lie ahead. Your sense of emptiness is not a blank. Rather, it is a place where you can develop, change, and evolve. Letting go means releasing what restricts you and making room for new possibilities, not giving up on hopelessness. Every loss, no matter how painful it may appear, serves as a springboard for your growth. You're being led toward a future that will only come to pass if you have faith in the process and think that life's timing is ideal. Furthermore, the people who depart and the doors that close are not symbols of failure when you accept the empty places as chances for fresh starts. They are indications that you're being guided in the direction of a life that perfectly reflects your greatest purpose. Therefore, keep in mind that you are not being abandoned while you stand in the middle of what seems like loss. You're getting ready. They're expanding you. They're expanding you. Your journey is about to take you to the next level. Have faith that life's greatest benefits always follow its removals. Accept the silence. Give up the past. And keep your heart open to the endless possibilities that lie ahead. Dear Divine Presence, I approach you with a soul that yearns to have faith in life's journey and a heart that is searching for knowledge. I am grateful for the knowledge you have given me, for helping me navigate the times of transition and accept changes no matter how challenging they may appear. I have faith that every individual, circumstance, and instant that is taken out of my life is a part of your divine plan, for the accomplishment of my greatest purpose, for my development, and for my advancement. Help me to recognize what is being prepared for me, rather than what is gone, during times of loss. Give me the confidence to let go of things that no longer serve me, to bravely venture into the unknown, and to have faith that you're guiding me toward something bigger than I could have ever dreamed. Put your wisdom, love, and light into the voids left by others. Allow each vacant moment to serve as a chance for me to become stronger, more lucid, and more in line with my actual course. I pray for the grace to believe in your perfect timing, the tranquility to accept change without opposition, and the faith to know that I am constantly being led to the right place. Allow me to go with assurance, believing that your purpose for me is developing in ways I cannot comprehend. I'm grateful for your steadfast support, the wonder of change, and the many possibilities that lie ahead. I am at peace in your divine presence. Amen.